Hello and welcome back to Irish Football Fan TV. We're here with the League of Ireland podcast. Just myself and Paul here today. And Paul, we'll start with your Shelbourne. Steve was actually out at this game in Richmond Park, 0-all draw. Difficult squad selection for Damien Duff coming into this one. No Paddy Barrett and no Sean Gannon available. Same down in Sligo last week. I think he had to play young Lewis Temple and actually Mark Coyle at the back. They're playing five at the back at this stage. First half started and Pats were quite on top, to be fair. Thinking the chances of Brandon Kavanagh, Mason Mealy had a good chance. I think even Chris Forrester had a shot from distance.
The best League of Ireland player ever?
Up there.
Okay, just checking.
No?
Just checking.
Not for you.
He's up there.
Yeah. But anyway, Shells did have their chances as well. Ellis Chapman had a couple of testers for Joseph Ignang. Going into the second half, Shells kind of got back on top. Really put on the pressure towards the end and pulled a couple of huge saves out of Joseph Ignang. But in the end, the points are shared. Probably not the showcase that we were probably all expecting from a pretty big name game.
Yeah, well, I think people were going off the back end of last season with the 3-2.
Yeah.
It was a really good game. It's actually the last game I paid in as a punter just to watch the game. So it was a huge game in the run-in. I think Shells went on then to win their games after that. So it was huge character for them to do that.
Do you know what? I went to the Rovers game after that and they lost away to Rovers, and then after that they won every game.
Apologies.
Yeah.
So again, to lose those two games and then to go back and win the rest shows huge character. But anyway, back to this season. I think, look, like Shells, they're struggling with their squad, but they're making use of what they have. And Lewis Temple got man of the match in the game, and Shells frustrated Pats, but obviously, as you said, had chances. Stephen Kenny said it was kind of contrasting halves in that sense. And yeah, Mark Coyle was unbelievable. And even like Steve said, like in the game, he was class. So he's the real leader in that Shells team. And yeah, I'd like to see maybe a bit more from Meepo. I don't think he's really playing up to his best potential at the moment. So I'd like to see him start getting or putting away chances and becoming more consistent in terms of that, and just with his finishing. I'd love to see him go through a really big kind of purple patch of form. That'd be great to see. I think I'd be interested to see how good he can be if he gets that. And then look, it was a feisty game. It's Dublin Derby, so yeah, they're always gonna like tackles flying in. There was a tackle on John Martin. They weren't happy about and stuff like that. But look, Damien Duff seemed quite happy after the game, the way he's grabbing the players, Cam Leveridge and the other players as well. And Stephen Kenny didn't seem like he seemed all right about it. He didn't seem like overawed or too happy or too negative. He just seemed quite happy, content with the result. So I think both sides will look at it as a big point come the end of the season. And yeah, Lewis Temple, fair play to him.
Yeah, Meepo did have a big chance in the second half, didn't he? Joseph Ignang pulled off a great save from that, but probably should have scored it, to be fair. Yeah, like you said, you're probably just waiting for him to show the talent that we really all know and expect from him. On a positive note for Shells, though, like Ellis Chapman seems to be coming into form since signing from Sligo Rovers. Really was quite influential, especially in the first half when Shells didn't have much of the ball. Really was your one kind of outlet. But like you said, John Martin, since he's been back fit, he's been playing more up front, and Damien Duff has been looking kind of elsewhere. So Damien Duff did say, like you said, he was quite happy after the match, said it was a point won rather than 2 points draw, and that it was the opposite for Pats. You see it the same way?
He's gonna say that being a terrible manager, you know what I mean? Look,
he knows how to put a nice spin on things, doesn't he?
Yeah. Look, as I said, Kenny seemed quite happy. Duff seemed quite happy at the final whistle. So yeah, I can't really say too much. You know what I mean? In terms of if it was 2 points dropped, why was he running around grabbing everybody?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, as you say, he puts the spin on things, but like that's why he's so good for the league.
Yeah, true. On to the game that I was at. Bohs won 4-2 at home to Sligo Rovers. It was a mad start to the game. Only 4 minutes in, Bohs went in front. It was a free kick on the kind of left corner of the box in kind of a crossing position. Dawson Devoy takes the shot on. Actually, it was a good save by Conor Walsh in goal, but Colin Whelan is there to finish it off. And only a minute later, Bohs go 2 in front because they catch Sligo on the counter attack. Dawson Devoy running in on goal, kind of gets held up by the Sligo defence, but lays it off to Ross Tierney and a beautiful kind of side foot finish into the far side netting for him on the left foot. So 2-0 up for Bohs, and looks like it's going to be smooth sailing from there on out. But in the 23rd minute, in kind of true Bohs fashion, we start to throw away the lead. So Francie Lomboto goes in, catches Bohs out in the counter, goes 1-on-1 with Kasper Tarazga, actually, who came in for the dropped James Talbot, which was interesting coming into this game. Goes 1-on-1 with Tarazga and finishes it off. Not long after that, in the 29th minute, they completed the comeback when the ball is played over the top. Kasper Tarazga comes tearing out the goal, and Owen Elding just beats him to it. Goes around him and places it into the empty net, and 2-2. Really kind of, you see the writing on the wall in Dalymount. Things are getting really hot in the stands. The crowd is chanting for Reynolds to go. The context of this game obviously being that we lost last week pretty convincingly to Galway, and a lot of the fans were calling for Reynolds to leave after that. Probably would have been a bit surprised if they had done that straight after an international break. You don't often see that. You don't often see managers getting sacked after a 2-week break. But yeah, it didn't look like it was going to go well after that. But Bohs do pick it back up in the second half, and in the 74th minute, Ross Tierney gets a second goal, picks the ball up on the nice move down the right side by Bohs, and then picks the ball up on the left side of the box, sends the defender flying, and nice finish from close range. And then the 96th minute, Dawson Devoy finishes the game. He picks up the ball from a loose touch by McElroy, I think, just inside the Sligo half, and lobs the keeper from distance. So really nice way to cap things off, but eases the pressure slightly for Bohs, I would say.
Yeah, and I think Ross Tierney's celebration was interesting, that he ran over to Reynolds.
Yeah.
It seemed as though he was almost saying, like, that was for you, because of the tough time that Bohs have been through. So, yeah, I don't know, what was the issue with Talbot? What was he dropped for?
Well, there was a lot of people in, typical kind of Twitter football fan fashion looking for a scapegoat, and it felt like James Talbot could do nothing right for a while, even though I didn't see that from the performances I was watching. People seeing that, in fairness, Tarazga played brilliant last season, and people are questioning why he was dropped, which I understand, but James Talbot, we've seen in the past, a great keeper. So
Viva showed.
Yeah, and he's always put in 100% for Bohs, so I didn't understand the kind of fury towards him being starting ahead of Tarazga, but it came back to bite us in a sense, because Tarazga did make a pretty big blunder for the second Sligo goal. Just to touch on Sligo as well, like, I think they could have capitalised on Bohs, who were in a kind of vulnerable position, but they were really poor themselves, I thought. Like 4 very cheap goals to concede. Like, I know they didn't have Jadakiki and John Mahon coming into this match, picked up a number of injuries throughout the game. But yeah, it's going to be a seriously tough task for John Russell this season. Pretty big mountain to climb, I would say, to stay up.
Yeah, but it's a long season, so like every week someone's beating someone, and
You're just looking at it though, and it's like, this is the one season, and it's getting like that nearly every season now, where there's no kind of whipping boys of the league. And you're looking for teams that, can we place ahead of these? Can we finish ahead of these? Where are we going to get our next couple of wins? And Sligo was that for Bohs. If you're in a Sligo perspective, you're thinking, Jesus, this could be like a really long season.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, I also, Sligo tend to pick it up in the summer after the break, and they get a couple more players in and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be thinking that they're gonna. I just couldn't see it, but I could be totally wrong. So, it's not. Yeah, they're just that side that you just never know what you're gonna get from them. Like, you can't predict anything in what they do. Like, they can go out and lose 4-2 to Bohs, and go out and beat like Shamrock Rovers 2-0 next week or whatever. That's just the way they go about things. But I do agree with you that the quality in the league this year, with all the full-time clubs and everything like that, Cork are back as well, and then Waterford and Galway, they're all strong. Drogheda as well.
Yeah, like last season, Waterford and Galway coming up, that calibre team coming up, you're thinking, like, are we really going to finish ahead of anyone? And then Cork coming up this season, like, it just doesn't get any easier. Just to finish up on Bohs, like, do you think this is all is forgiven for Alan Reynolds? Do you think this might be a turning point? This was, like, Bow's first win in Dalymount Park in almost 8 months. It was September in 2024, the last time we won a game in Dalymount against Rovers. So it really has been tough going at home for Bows over the last couple of months. Do you see this as like kind of a turning point, or?
Well, you'd like to think so, but you never know in football. Sometimes you can get that bit of luck, and then sometimes you can't. So I think for him, I think you're only as good as your last game. They've won the last game now, so can they capitalise on that? Obviously, a big game against Shells this week. Shells aren't in the best of form. They're not scoring too many goals. Bows have just scored 4 goals. Things always ramp up in those North Dublin derbies as well. So yeah, that one's going to be a very interesting game. I think all eyes will be on that game this week in terms of it's the kind of glamour tie of the week.
Yeah, the positives I would say for Bows going forward is Ross Tierney and Dawson Devoy, who by all accounts hadn't had a great start to the year. I know Ross Tierney scored in the Aviva game, but hasn't played to the level that he's capable of.
Consistently.
Yeah, really came on in this game and showed what he's made of. 2 great goals. Dawson Devoy with a goal and an assist. Didn't play great, to be fair, aside from that, but again, contributing to 2 goals. If those two players will probably get into any side in the league on their day. If those 2 players can really pick up their form, the Moose is still yet to get off the ground. We'll see what happens there. But
you have to get off the bench.
Yeah, I know, because Collie Whelan is keeping him there. He's 4 goals on the season.
Player,
yeah. So there is a lot of quality in this team, and I think that's where the frustration comes from for a lot of Bows fans. But hopefully this is a turning point in the season. Moving across to Shamrock Rovers, who went away to Galway United in what looked to be a really difficult game. Galway coming off a win in Dalymount Park, 2 goals there, 2 great goals by Moses Dyer. You're thinking this is going to be a really difficult away day for Shamrock Rovers. And to be fair, Galway were quite on top for the first half. I know Moses Dyer had a free kick outside the box that Leon Pauls had to pull off a great save. He was in for McGinty today, not available. So Pauls doing his job well, filling in. And good thing he did, because just after the half, Rovers went in front. It was the 48th minute when Matt Healy got a corner, whipped it in. Evan Watts comes out to claim it and just can't gather it. Falls to Rory Gaffney on the goal line, and he gets his first goal of the season. And Rovers, had a couple more chances from there on out, but see the game out well, and very solid, I would say, 3 points away from home.
Yeah, Steve's mate Matt Healy with the ball.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Play to him. It's good to see Rory Gaffney back. He's been out for a long time. I think that if Rovers had him during the European run against Molde, perhaps they would have got over the line, because he scores big goals and big moments in games. He knows he's got that experience and strength and power. He was arguably the best player in the league when they won the league last, and he was I'm sure he was player of the year.
Yeah, he won player of the year.
So he was.
Might have won it twice, actually.
He was unplayable. He was so good, and he was doing that regularly. Winning it for Shamrock Rovers. So to have him back is huge. He's obviously signed a new contract. So I think if they want to get back to winning leagues and stuff like that, I think it's key to keep someone like him fit. Huge win for them. Galway have been doing good. It's a hard place to go and get a result, and they've done it.
Yeah. Also as well, Jack Byrne, who's been back, looked really good when he came on as well. Looked like the Jack Byrne of old, really just controlling things from that quarterback position. In the centre midfield, playing balls over the top to the likes of Matt Healy, Michael Noonan when he came on, Rory Gaffney as well. So things are looking positive, I would say, for Rovers, unfortunately. But Galway, wouldn't be too concerned. They've been really solid this season. Not going to win every game. Look like you've got some serious players in the likes of Moses Dyer, Patrick Hickey, Borden as well. So I think they'll be all right going forward. I wouldn't be overly concerned. But a team that were concerned before this week, Derry City, really needed a win this week, and they got a 2-1 win against Cork City. Wasn't easy though. Derry were on top, I would say, for the first half, had a lot of big chances, but Cork against the run of play in the 14th minute, nice move down the left wing, chip to the back post, and Kit Nelson rises up and heads it home. And I think a lot of Derry fans were getting deja vu at that point, dominating the game in the Brandywell and conceding some cheap goals. But look, they got it back on track in the second half. I have to say, Troost as well in goal for Cork has been really impressive for me. At the start of this season, Derry had a lot of big chances, and he really kind of kept Cork in the game in the first half. 65th minute, Derry got back into the game, deservedly equalised. Really, it was kind of pinball around the box. Liam Boyce heads it back, and Ronan Boyce with an overhead kick from close range gets Derry back on terms. Not long after that, 74th minute, it was that man again, Michael Duffy, who was a counter attack by Derry. Nice move, feeds it out to Michael Duffy on the left side, just lays it out onto his left foot and puts it past Troost and gets Derry in front. And really, no more than they deserve, to be honest, because it was a very good home performance for Derry.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Derry need is to get back to winning ways, and putting in big performances and winning at home, and that's ultimately what they're going to be judged on by the end of the season. Can they put on a title run? Can they get back in the fold? And I think that's what their fans are demanding, is to start win. Just even seeing them win their home games, and then after that, worry about that. But make sure you sort out your home form first, and then you can sort out your away form. But yeah, big win, really big win. And
that north stand was open to fans for the first time as well in the Brandywell. Looked really good having fans in there. Pitch still doesn't look great, but it was great to see them erupting when Michael Duffy scored again. And he actually levels with Aidan Keane at the top of the goal scoring charts now. So really on fire, and hasn't aged a year since his Dundalk days and beyond that. So great to see him still playing really well. Drogheda, the team who everyone's been looking at over the last few weeks, had a fantastic start to the season, and they continue that in their 2-0 win this week at home to Waterford. It wasn't even enough first half, to be fair. Dennison did have to make a good one-on-one save against Pádraig Amond, but in the 45th minute, Drogheda do take the lead when there was Waterford trying to clear their lines, failing to do so. Ryan Brennan comes in, heads the ball over the top, and that man again, Warren Davis, who's been on fire for the last few weeks, goes one-on-one and finishes it off, puts Drogs 1-0 in front, and got better from there on, because in the 67th minute, Darragh Markey got the ball on the left wing, cuts in his right foot and whips a ball in. Just seemed to evade everybody in the box, past all the Waterford defenders and goalkeeper into the back of the net. Seemed to be a lot of arguing as to who was at fault in the Derry backline, in the Waterford backline there. Not happy at all with each other. Waterford did have a couple of chances, but unable to find the back of the net. But really the story here is Drogheda continuing their great form.
Yeah, and I saw that Kevin Doherty was talking about kind of going full time and saying that their lives were better, as in the club, players, staff, everyone, because they're full time now. So you can see the difference in the results that they're getting since they've gone full time. They're constantly punching above their weight and doing great. And Warren Davis is one of the kind of shining stars of the league so far this season, or the young players. I think he's really building a reputation, and I think Drogheda will do well to hang on to him next season if he continues to keep playing the way he's playing and popping up with important goals and creating chances and stuff like that. I think he's been really, really, really good this season, and I think everyone's gonna keeping an eye on him and keeping an eye on what he's doing. And I
still only 19, I think.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have suitors, when it comes to the transfer market. Even he could potentially even be looked at in the summer window.
Yeah, and they've got that great mix in their squad, nice balance of youth and experienced pros, the likes of Warren Davis up front, but then also you have Ryan Brennan, who contributed to the first goal, Darragh Markey, who contributed to the second goal. Just players who know what they're doing in the League of Ireland, and really have a soft spot for Drogheda, to be honest. Like the story that they've been over the last couple of years, and really showing the fruits of that this season. Kevin Doherty, have so much admiration for him as a manager, the job he's done there. In Sullivan and Lamb Park, I found out the name to the stadium now. That's the name of it this year, apparently. But no, they're giving the fans in there something to cheer about, and well deserved, continuing their form on from last season with the cup win. So that's it for round 8 of the League of Ireland. Any takeaways so far, or do you think it's too early to really draw any? Yeah,
I think wait for the 10th round and we'll have a fair kind of assessment on things. I still think, we don't know who's relegation candidates and we don't know who's title candidates right now.
It feels like just when you're about to make an evaluation on teams, they either go and get a win to change people's minds, or they go and get a loss to take them back down to earth. So still in that kind of weird phase where we don't know what to expect from anyone really. So all to play for really going forward, which is great for us, keeps us all interested. That's it for this week really. Make sure to look out for our Irish Abroad video. Make sure to like and subscribe and check us out on social media. That's it from us.